And welcome everyone. Welcome to another Adobe live stream here on the Adobe Student channel this time. So we're going to be talking about ways to create compelling, good designs for your YouTube or video thumbnail. So welcome everyone. If you're watching this on the replay, thanks for watching the replay. And I go live usually on every day of the week, except for maybe sometimes not on Fridays, but I'm live on usually one of the Adobe social media channels each and every day. So today, again, we're going to be talking about YouTube thumbnails. Let me go ahead and switch over to my computer so you guys can see what exactly I'm talking about or referring to. All right, so I've just brought up my YouTube, and of course it shows me my recommended, recently uploaded for people I follow, basically the channels and their videos. And what you can see here is that there are a variety of different videos, some from big brands like, news channels and CNN, for example. And then there are others that are just individuals, people that I follow that upload some pretty cool content here and there. But what gets people to watch a video is partly the title and the fact that you follow them, but I would say a large part of it, probably over 50% of it, probably 60 to 70% of it is the thumbnail, the actual image that you see when you bring up a page or when you're looking at a video and you see all the little thumbnails next to that video you're already watching that you might want to watch the next video. So that's really where you need to focus. Now, I can remember back in the day when you uploaded a YouTube video, your thumbnail choices were kind of limited. You basically could pick a frame from your video. And usually YouTube would give you a choice of three. Something near the beginning, something that happened in the middle, something that happened at the end. And that was it. You had to pick one of those three. And usually if it's a talking head or a person, the video was all, or the thumbnail choices were always a person with weird faces going on because it caught them mid-frame and they were just never compelling. Luckily, YouTube now lets you upload your own thumbnail and has been doing that for a little while now. So for example, I don't know why I keep grabbing the wrong mouse, but for example, when you upload a video, for example, this video I uploaded, here are the three thumbnail choices that it gave me. So if I don't feel like designing anything and I kind of like these, I can just go ahead and click on them and set that as a thumbnail. But you'll also see a button here called custom thumbnail. So that is a YouTube feature, to be the ability to upload your own custom thumbnail. And again, I talked about the reasons why you should do it, because when someone is watching a video and they see all these other videos next to it, what's usually going to get them to click or tap on it is the thumbnail, the actual image. The image might get them to read what the video is, but if the image is compelling enough, they'll just click on it because they can also see what it's going to be about just by the image itself. So again, I see some people giving shout outs here. So Victoria, Cristal, Babis, Mohammed, welcome on Facebook, and of course on YouTube we've got Reggie, we've got, is that Merkajak? If I'm saying that incorrectly, I apologize. Chels, Chris, welcome, and of course we've got people on Twitter watching as well. So this is all about creating compelling thumbnails that'll get your video watched. So I'm going to walk you through the process to make one. I'll tell you some ins and outs and some specs about what you should do. But just keep in mind, you think about it, the last videos you watched, you probably watched them based on the image you saw. You might have looked at the text, but you probably looked at the image first. And the image is what pulled you in. If the image wasn't compelling, you probably scrolled past it. You probably didn't even make it over to the text. Or if you couldn't tell what it was. So let me go back to these examples real quick. So let me point out some that I'm referring to. So this one's clearly about a MacBook Pro. If I'm a Mac user, that might be compelling. It doesn't tell me what the video is going to be about until I read the text. So this, in my opinion, is not a great thumbnail because it got me almost there. But if I would have saw that my $4,200 MacBook Pro horror story on the thumbnail, I probably would have clicked it right away because I want to see what the horror story is about. Some are self-explanatory. Some don't need text, like this one with the plane with, I guess those are birds flying all around it. Well, that's going to draw me in right there because I've never seen anything like that. So I'm probably going to go ahead and click on that just to see what that video is about. If they're brands like, Stephen Colbert or newscasters, they're typically just going to be their picture. You already know who they are. They're famous enough for you to know. And then they might have some text on the thumbnail itself to tell you what that particular clip is about. I look at this one that says 2018 and it shows a MacBook Pro and an Apple Watch. It's not compelling enough for me to click on unless, I knew that there were new ones announced today, but I probably wouldn't click on that video. Then of course people will point to things, like they'll use arrows or circles or other indicators like, ooh, something's happening there. Best bloopers of 2017. So something might have happened where her hands are. That might be compelling. I don't know. All right, let's scroll down a bit. I like this one where Casey's showing a camera and he's got the $1,200 price tag. And so it's letting you know, oh, if I'm in the market for a $1,200 camera, I might want to look and see what that is. Not, probably not. Then there are examples that are, I consider not that good, even when they're trying to do a good thing. Like this guy is definitely using text, but he's using text that doesn't look great. It's red text with a black outline, and it's very open-spaced as far as the lettering is concerned, and it does not compel me to want to read it or watch the video. So there are times where people are trying to do it right, but they're not quite doing it right. So yes, add text, but you got to do it in a better, more pleasing to the eye way. Well, we know this is Elon Musk, but again, that one I probably wouldn't have watched because it's just Elon Musk. I don't know what it's about until I read the text. This one where he's holding, which I know that's a solar panel for a roof, but if I didn't know that, I probably wouldn't click on that because it doesn't tell me anything. So think about your thumbnails, think about what they convey. This one, for example, very good, but probably violating copyright, where it's showing a picture of the Terminator and it says, will Tesla be terminated? That drew me in because I knew that's the Terminator. Ooh, maybe there's a new Terminator movie or something Terminator related coming out. Again, I would stray away from violating copyrights, but just so you know that that's possible to draw people in with compelling imagery, even though it doesn't have any text. All right, enough said. Let's jump over to Photoshop, where I'm going to show you how to build one of these from scratch. I'm also going to give you a quick note to screenshot. Let me bring my notes over. So you might want to take a look at this. You will see this. You won't see this description unless you're uploading a thumbnail for a live stream like I'm doing today. Normally, the button for uploading just simply says, upload something that's a maximum size of 2 megabytes. It doesn't tell you anything else. Like, I don't know what size I need to make that. So, but this one's definitely more descriptive. Let's go back to Photoshop. Let's go back to the note, where it's telling me, please upload an image as large as possible, suggested 1280 by 720, which is 720p, since the image will also be used as a preview image when your event is embedded on other sites and so forth and so on. It's letting me know the file formats can be JPEG, GIF, BMP, or bitmap format, PNG, and the maximum file size, again, is 2 megabytes. So, don't make a file that's too big or it will not work. All right, so let's go ahead and create this in Photoshop from scratch. We're just going to create a new document. We're going to go ahead and go over to Film and Video because I will have the 1280 by 720 preset already there. I just click on it and click Create, and now I've got the right size. I don't have to think about anything else. Now I think about is my design that I want on it. So I'm gonna just make up a thumbnail for a video as we go, even though I don't have this particular video to upload, but just to give you some ideas of how I would do it. So the first thing I want is a compelling image. I want an image that draws your eye in, that makes people want to look. So let's go ahead and do, for example, I'm going to go to my Lightroom images, and I've got a nice drone shot here from Iceland. So it's a lighthouse. Their lighthouses are orange for some reason in Iceland, but they are what they are. I'm going to go ahead and open up that image, and then I'm just going to put that image, just drag it over using the move tool to my blank canvas. And of course, that image is quite large, fills up the canvas nicely. I don't need to scale it down really because I don't need all of the image. I'd rather the lighthouse be bigger anyway. So I'm just going to move it up some. And that's giving me plenty of room to put text over it. But again, I said this was going to be about a drone video. So while that's a drone shot, most people may not know that right off the bat. So that can be pulled into my Illustrator artboards, right? Yeah, sure. You can use Illustrator if you want. You can use any application that's going to give you those resulting file formats. So next thing I want to do is I'm going to pull in another image, an actual image of a drone. So I've got my DJI Mavic Air here. I'm just going to go ahead and do a couple corrections to it real quick. I'm going to straighten out the horizon using the straighten tool, and then we'll go ahead and open that up, and now we'll open it up straight. All right, next thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and pull that one over to my blank canvas, and that's going to be kind of off to the side. So now this is way too big. I need to scale this one down. So I'm going to hit Command T on Mac, Control T on Windows. We'll zoom out with Command 0, and we're just going to scale this down to the height of our existing image. So just go ahead and move that over a bit, and that will be my drone shot. So you kind of know it's a drone. But of course, these were taken at 2 different times, 2 different locations, 2 different, one was sunset, one was Florida, one was Iceland, so the lighting's off. So what I want to do with that second layer, we'll call this the drone layer, and we'll call this the lighthouse layer. Lighthouse is fine. Okay, so now we know which one's which. I'm going to go to the drone layer. And on the drone layer, I'm going to use a feature that's been in Photoshop for a while. We're going to use match color. So I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, Match Color. And I'm going to, for layer number 2, which is the one we have selected, it's asking me what the source is going to be. And I'm going to use my Iceland image, the one that's still open, as my source color. And it will just, once I choose it, it will automatically kind of try and match that color from Iceland onto my shot over on the left. Now, it's not the greatest job in the world for matching color, but it does do a good job. I can play with the luminance, crank the luminance up a little bit, play with the color intensity. There we go, and get that nice bluish shot just like the other one. All right, so next thing I want to do is it stands out still a little too much for me, so I would love to add a mask to that drone layer. And now I've added a mask. I'm going to use the gradient tool, and I'm just going to fade out this hard edge. So I'm just going to drag from white to black, just on the edge, just straight across, and kind of blend that. Oh, I want to blend it in maybe a little bit more than that. There we go. Let's kind of blend that in. We can even do it at an angle, actually. There we go. Something like that. And of course, if I didn't blend it enough, I can always use a black paintbrush and paint out the rest of that edge. There we go, something like that. All right, so now we blended that in. Now it kind of looks like we're in the same place, combining 2 images together. Because the blue is blending in nicely with the water, that looks like that could just be a stump wherever I was, or a post wherever I was before I flew it to that island. Okay, so now I've got my imagery together. What's next? You got to have that large, compelling text. And what I mean, the reason I say large, if we go back to YouTube, the thumbnails are going to be small. They're even going to be smaller on a phone. So if somebody's looking at your video, looking at a video, and your thumbnail shows up, and the text can't be read, guess what? They're not going to read it. So if the text is too small, it might as well not be there. So for example, I can see that this one is about watch version 3, 25 things you didn't know. I can read that clearly, and I can see the picture of the Apple Watch. But I've seen examples, I don't have any necessarily here, where the text was so small, it might as well, yeah, these are all big enough. It might as well have not been, oh, here's one. Okay, that one's like here, yeah. This one says crazy comparison, but I can't read that stuff here because it's just too small. Plus it's dark. and I don't really have a compelling, easy way to zoom in. So putting text on the thumbnail is important, but it has to be read. You have to be able to do it. All right, so someone said they missed the tool name, the blend the two images together. That was using the gradient tool on a mask. So basically that just created that mask. I painted in, actually go ahead and paint in the rest if I want. I painted in the black down here to mask it, but the gradient just created this white to black gradient, which ultimately gave me that look. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click the type tool. And with the type tool, I'm going to just simply click and start typing. Now, what are you going to say? The first thing you're probably going to think is, well, I should probably put the name of the video right on top. And you can, but you got to remember the name of the video it's already in the description. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the image. So I want to put something there that's going to catch people's attention. Something like, and I know this is in black, I'm going to go ahead and change the color in a minute, but I'll show you what it means and what I just said in a second. Let's go ahead and change the color. Don't crash your drone. That's going to be compelling. That's going to be something that people are going to say, oh my God, no, I don't want to crash my drone. What's this video about? If you're a drone user. All right, so that might be just something, it's not always scare people, but something that will get their attention that you hopefully talked about in the video. So the next thing, that was like the get their attention. And then the next thing I might want to do is whet their appetite for something else. And that could be the title. For example, I could say 7 tips for the Mavic Air. All right. So let's go ahead and space that out a bit. And of course, let's go ahead and make that much bigger, because if it's too small, no one will be able to read it anyway. All right, and then of course I might want to switch up the font on that. So I'll use something nice and thick like Fat Frank Heavy. And of course I don't want to cut off on the edge there, so I might want to say the Mavic Air. Space that out a little bit more. And there we go. Now, the only other thing is this could work, but the only other problem I'm having with it graphically is that that's white text, this is white text, it kind of just blends in together. So I might want to do something to kind of, because I have two images side by side, I might want to use something to further break this up visually. So instead of don't crash your drone all being one color, I might want to go in and just simply say your drone and then switch the color to that. So for example, I could use the gold that's in the lighthouse. I could use the orange. I could use the green. I could use the blue. I could use a color that I want to stand out. So I might start with the orange, but that doesn't stand out enough. So I just get something a little bit lighter, something a little brighter, not quite white, but something that will stand out there, something like that. So we click OK, and there we are. So this, I don't really have any arrows or comparisons or lines to draw. There's really no reason to do anything like that here. I might also decide that, well, maybe that might work better if they were on the same side like that, and maybe then I can go bigger. So at this point, it is literally your choice. It is up to you to decide graphically or design-wise what you want. And I kind of like this, so now I'm actually going to play with this and say that I want that up here, left justified, and I want this down here, right justified, and we'll just move that back over, and we get something like that. Yeah, that would be a compelling thumbnail. Don't crash your drone. Oh, got to put the exclamation point in. Make sure it's important. Don't crash your drone. 7 tips for the Mavic Air. That's a video I would want to tap on because I'm a Mavic user, or maybe I'm going to be, and I want to know how not to crash my drone. It's telling me everything. It's giving me a compelling visual in the back. Water. Everyone's afraid of crashing in the water. So those are all those touch points that people might want to look at your video for. So someone asked, what pen am I using? I'm using a Wacom Cintiq 27 QHD. So that's the pen that I'm using to do the masking. All right. Next thing. All right, let's just quickly go through the comments, see if I didn't miss anything important. And Ian, thanks for stopping by and saying looks good, good quality. All right. Very good. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right, I think I got everybody and everyone's comments here and there. Let's just scroll back through these. Maybe underline the 7 tips. Yeah, I can do that. I'm not a fan of underline though. So that's probably why I won't do it, but yeah, it could be done. All right. Does a graphic designer need, I don't know what that is. All right. Okay, so I think I got all the questions that I can answer. And with that said, thanks everyone for watching. Tips and tricks, or tips for designing your next YouTube thumbnail. Compelling image, type that's going to not only be visible at a small size, but says something that will pull people in. And of course, the right size, right format. So this is 720p, 1280 by 720. And of course, I would save this out as a JPEG, which by the way, you can do that a couple different ways. I didn't talk about that. You can either export either as a PNG or JPEG, depending on your export preferences, or you could use the legacy save for web. So I could go to export and legacy save for web. It's going to be 1280 by 720. I can use a nice JPEG high quality or PNG file, whatever you prefer. Just mind your file size. It's going to be 207K, plenty of space left over. If I do a PNG, it's going to be a lot bigger, but the quality would probably be a little better. So it's your choice. All right, so let's go ahead and save that out. And I'm going to call it Drone Thumb. And we'll save that out onto the desktop. And so next thing you would do is go back to your video that you are going to upload, or you upload it, click on Custom Thumbnail, and then of course grab your thumbnail that you just added. So that will upload it. And then that will become the thumbnail, and it will eventually update that once you publish your video. That becomes the thumbnail that everyone sees. All right, that's it. Yep, see it just updated. And see it, it's small, but you can still read what it says. That's your test right there. So before you even upload it, just make sure this all looks good, because that's a small size, to make sure that looks the way you want it to look. Thanks everyone for watching. We will catch you on the next one. Bye everybody. Cheers.